What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Autobahn. My name is Max, and today we are taking a look at the new VW Touareg. This is the R version. We already reviewed the regular version, so that's called the Elegance e-hybrid. This is the other version we get here in the Netherlands, which is the R e-hybrid. The rest of the world also still gets conventional TSI and TDI, so petrol and diesel versions. We don't get those because we have CO2 dependent taxes and they would be just too expensive. No one would buy them, so we just get the hybrids. But this is also the most powerful version, the R, with 462 horsepower. So today I'm going to show you around it. We'll take a quick look at it because we already did a full review on the new Touareg. Click in the top right corner if you want to check out that video. Today I'm going to focus on the R stuff and kind of figure out if you should go for the R, if you should spend the extra money. Is it worth the extra money? Do you want the extra power, or do you just want the regular elegance? And I mean, this is all like kind of personal, but for instance, everything is blacked out on this car. I would love to have everything just in chrome like with the Elegance, but I don't think that's actually possible on the R version. So we'll take a look at it and then we'll take it for a drive towards the Autobahn for an Autobahn blast. As I said, you get some black stuff, so you get more sporty bumpers, front bumpers. Everything is black in the grille. Normally, if you have an Elegance, I think these two, maybe all four, but I think it's a couple of them, are chrome, which I like. I think it gives the car a bit more of a friendly classic SUV look. This is more sporty. I think this is also why most people will go for the R version, because it just looks a bit more mean, a bit more aggressive, in addition to having a little bit of extra power. So, very handsome car. Again, I absolutely love the new Touareg. I think it's such a handsome car. It's a really nice classic SUV and we don't get many of those anymore. So at the front we've got an LED bar running across the front. That is also part of the facelift. We get new bumpers, new headlights with like 19,000 micro LEDs per light or something like that. They work really well. This, if you have the automatic like lighting on, it just carves out a little hole for the car in front of you and everything else is illuminated, and it's like a big ball of light. It works super well. Very, very nice actually. So the R also gets air suspension as standard, which is a must-have. So if you go for the Elegance version, I would definitely recommend going for the air suspension. You also get a bigger wheel as standard on the R version, 20-inch instead of 19-inch, but these are optional 22s. So that means that you have an even skinnier tire. These are 285 section tires all around and a 35 height. So yeah, I think this car excels at being super comfy and just soaking everything up nice and quiet and just kind of driving on and over everything without feeling much, basically. This kind of defeats that purpose, of course. So if you want it to be more comfortable, go for the standard 20-inch or even go for the Elegance with the 19-inch, because you know, the more tire you have combined with that air suspension, it's just super comfy. So behind that we've got these R brake calipers, which are actually quite massive. I don't think they're different compared to the Elegance. It's kind of a soggy brake pedal feel, so it's not really like an R feeling. In that sense, you get an R badge there, black mirror caps, black window surrounds. You also get these black roof rails. Again, would love that in like aluminium. Rear lights also very nice for the facelift with the new LED bar running across. Then we've got a dual exhaust here, which is actually a proper exhaust. Look at that. Good job, VW. So this is actually an exhaust with an exhaust tailpipe in like this black thing. It's not part of the bumper. And then a little silencer here. Well, a little. There are a few silencers because you don't really hear anything. Big boot as well, with below that the battery pack, 17.9 kilowatt hour battery pack. It's not that big. electric range is not that big as well. It's like 50 kilometers claimed, so you know, 30 to 35 in the real world, I would say. E-hybrid badge as well. And then let's check out the petrol engine. So we've got a 3-liter V6 turbocharged petrol engine, 340 horsepower, 450 newton meters of torque. Add electric power to that. In the regular one it was 136 horsepower, and in this one it's a little bit more. So you get, I think, like 80 horsepower extra electric, because it goes from 381 to 462. And the engine is the same, so only the electric power increases with the R version, 462. 0 to 100, 5.1 seconds, 5.9 for the regular one. So it's actually quite a bit quicker, and you do feel it. This, of course, is all dependent on you charging it, because otherwise a plug-in hybrid doesn't really work, because then you just have a 340 horsepower V6 with 2.5 tons of weight that you need to shift. So that means that, you know, fuel economy goes down really quickly, or goes up, depending on the way you look at it. So it is essential, I would say, that you plug this thing in whenever you can, at home, at the office, whatever, because if you have like 35 kilometers of range, you can do shorter distances, you can do like your commute, fully electrically, of course. But also it really helps to get that fuel economy down. So let's start her up, which it does in electric mode basically. This I've already shown you. Lovely interior, really good seats as well, with an R badge there. Beautiful stitching, nice blue piping as well, blue stitching all around the car. Nice diamond stitch here sort of as well, soft leather. I mean, yeah, this is a proper SUV. Again, you sit here, you sit inside the car, you have a high center stack, a high dash. It just, yeah, this is sort of a comfortable feeling. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. It's just, you feel like you're cocooned inside. And of course this car is on the MLB Evo platform, which it shares with the Q7, the Cayenne, Q8, Bentayga, stuff like that. This is the cheapest one, of course, but it might be my favorite. If you factor in price and stuff like that, I think this is the one to have. 15-inch screen here as well. CarPlay, you have your apps here. So that all works really well. I love that. I love the look of it, the feel of it. It's simple, it's straightforward. You have a shortcut to turn off the speed warning and lane assist, which you have to do every time you get in the car, unfortunately. But at least they have, oh, was already started up, but at least they have a shortcut button. So driving modes down here. If you hit that, you go to the menu. We're going to go for sport. Engine starts up. Air suspension right there for your ride height and stuff like that. So yeah, let's hit the road. And have a little drive. So, what is it like to drive? Well, do you need the R is the big question, of course. Do you want to? In the Netherlands it's 10k extra. Should you pay that? I think it depends. It really depends. I do feel like the extra e-power, it makes the car feel a little bit less heavy, which in the elegance version the weight is kind of always there, and this e-power definitely helps to, you know, to get that initial push, which means that the car does not feel like it weighs 2,500 kilos. And this R version having a little bit more e-power, of course, that effect is enhanced. But it's not really an R per se. It does not have an R button or an R mode or anything like that. It doesn't feel sporty in any way. It really doesn't. We can turn off traction control, so we have launch control. Basically, it's not an official launch control, but the car senses that you want to do a launch, so you get these big shifts, like quicker shifts, I guess. But it doesn't sound like an R. There's no fake sound. Yay. Yeah, it's just, I think it's just the e-power boost plus the look of it. That is what you pay for. It's not that much more expensive anyway. 10k on a car that starts at like 90k in the Netherlands. That's kind of the relative price difference. So yeah, it's a difficult one for me because looks wise I much prefer the elegance version that we drove last time. You might remember the red one we had with all the chrome trim and the spoke wheels, and I think that car looked so cool. This, I think, you know, it's a bit more in your face, a bit more out there, a bit more sporty, even though it's not really, or it's really not a sporty car. The gearbox also is still, it's an 8-speed automatic. It's still quite slow to respond. The pedals are very slow to respond. It's, yeah, don't expect any more sportiness from this R version. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, it really is that little performance gain and those looks. So yeah, that's how you should decide if you want it, yes or no. For me, I would love to have the extra power with the elegance look. Like, that's my issue. That's always the issue, because you can't have that. I think it's automatically like blacked out, most of it. So let's get like an energy flow chart here, so you guys can see where the power is coming from. It charges up from the engine pretty quickly, so you can set like a desired battery percentage over here. So you can, you know, put that all the way to the top, and then the car knows, okay, you want a full battery. I will start charging it with the engine, and then you can, you know, if you have to go into like a city, something like that. So full throttle onto the Autobahn. So now it basically uses both the V6 and the e-power to get us going. 100 to 200, I have to say, quite a big difference. We did 15.8 with the regular e-hybrid, and we did 13.66 with the R version. So that's like 2.2 seconds, which is a lot. So it's definitely, you know, delivering more power, and you also feel that it's a little bit more swift. It's a little bit easier to get going, to overtake. Yeah, it works really well, I think. It's, you know, when you hit the throttle, you immediately have that little e-boost. And then once the V6 gets going, it's a nice amount of power. But for me, again, you know, the thing that shines is that air suspension. Just the refinement of this car at this price point, I think, is very impressive. So top speed 250. It's very comfy. That's 260 on the speedo, not bad. So, anything negative to say about it? Well, of course, there's always something negative to say. If you look at the competition within the group, of course, this is like a bargain. You know, if you compare it to Q7, Q8, Cayenne, Bentayga, of course, Lamborghini Urus, basically like a distant cousin. But if you look at a BMW X5 45e or 50e, for instance, I don't know if this car can compete with the refinement of the X5, with the dynamic ability. It does feel a little bit more premium than this, and price-wise, they're not that different, and you get like similar power, especially the 50e, of course. I do think that that is a bit more refined, especially that drivetrain, the gearbox. Yeah, I would say that is a few steps ahead. But I will also say that in defense of the Touareg, I like the utilitarianism of this car. I like the simplicity. I like the, you know, there's almost no one will think you're an asshole when you drive a well-spec'd Touareg. Whereas in the BMW, you're kind of that guy, you know. It's a BMW X5 is a little bit more out there, or a little bit more offensive than a Touareg, I think. It's a little bit less of a show-off car, right? Which I like. I like the modesty of it. So, full throttle again. Like I said, it's a nice amount of power. It does not struggle to get up to speed. I also did like 5 seconds 0 to 100, which is like properly quick. So yeah, all in all, a really good car. I just wish I could get it with some chrome and aluminium trim, but that is just my personal preference. But it's definitely faster than the regular e-hybrid. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. You can subscribe by clicking the big button in the middle. You can also check out this video, this playlist, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.